You guys got notes?
No.
I don't even know.
I was waiting to see what it's live.
I don't even know what we're broadcasting this week.
Okay, we're here. That's the best story. Well.
We're live.
All right, welcome back to Throttled Up, the podcast, and the different setting tonight. We are not in studio, but we are in the new production trailer for Dirt to Media. Matt, we're joined tonight with Ryan Bowling, president, CEO, janitorial, pretty much everything at Dirt to Media.
Janitor for sure.
But wanted to get over here and check out the new trailer. Obviously a part of Dirt to Media, going to be out there this weekend. All In 25 Friday night. The No Way Out 40. I almost said the Throttled Up 40. No Way Out 40 on Saturday night.
Sounds good.
That does sound good.
It does sound really good.
Yeah.
But both live on Dirt to Media this weekend as well. So
Might need to look at making that the Throttled Down 25 and the Throttled Up 40.
ooh,
There you go.
I like that.
Got plans for next year.
There we go.
Working on it.
I want to jump in here before we get into
So you do have notes.
the actual show. Well, I mean, no, I was checking to see our comments. But I want to recap and go back to the Icebreaker. And, we spent a lot of time on this show over the last several years talking about, reactions to things that happen in the racing industry.
Yeah.
I want to start with this, first of all. Anybody who doesn't believe that both for Lucas Oil and for Jim Price, that the decision that was made with Saturday night was not made as a very, very tough decision, is lying to themselves.
I totally agree.
Because I watched what those guys were doing, and don't get me wrong, we get a special behind-the-scenes kind of look when things are going on there at race day. They wouldn't have got the dozer out and done the work they did if they didn't think they were going to get a chance to get back out there and race again.
But I think when they made the decision they made, it was for all the right reasons.
100%. 100%. I didn't want to go home. I wanted to watch them race. But I think they made the right call in that situation. But I also want to go back because it's funny to me, and I've read some of the Facebook comments, and I want to say this first of all. There were as many people being very supportive of the decision in what both Lucas Oil and the track tried to do. So I appreciate those people, being out in front on this. But I want to say this that I think people forget. They act like the track was trash. The track was not trash. The track was extremely, extremely fast. Multiple track records fast.
Actually, every class broke the qualifying track record. We just didn't qualify the pure stocks, but their hot lap session was faster than the track record.
So we forget that. Now, There were some issues, and Jim has said that. Lucas Oil has said that. The ruts were coming in. Don't get me wrong. I'm not minimizing that. But it seems like a lot of people forgot how good the track was before those issues showed themselves.
And a lot of them probably didn't realize that there were 100 loads of dirt put on the track. It's still winter.
It's not been warm here yet.
Yes.
Like we're literally, I know we're sitting outside here kind of, but it's still cool out. It's not been warm. It's, we're still freezing and thawing and
the weather didn't cooperate to get the work in that they needed to get it in. And how much complaining would have been if they just said we're not going to try to do the show at all.
Right.
And it's the Indiana Icebreaker for a reason.
Yes.
Like it's not a 4th of July show. Everybody knows that race is a gamble every year, whether it even gets in. Hell, we've had years where there's snow on the ground with the Icebreaker. Is it going to be warm enough? Is it going to be wet? Is it going to get in? That's the whole mystique to that race. I mean, go back a couple of years ago when Bishop wins it, his first year there in the rocket car, we hadn't ran it 4 years previous.
Yeah.
We pulled the trophy out and it said like 2015 on it. I mean, so it's a gamble.
And I'll tell you guys, like I've been through Brownstown every day this week and past the track, and Jim he's working nonstop right now to get this track back, and he's they've got equipment out there, and then there's nobody working harder than Jim Price right now to make things right and get things back together.
I really think if they set up something someday where you could be promoter for a day, there'd be a lot less people sitting back and saying, I think I'd like to do that sometime.
Yeah,
because you don't make everybody happy ever.
No. And people forget also how many variables go into this. Like I look at other sports, and what I do for my day job. We've went to artificial turf on almost every playing field we have. Softball, baseball, the football field. Why? Because it takes those elements out of the equation for whether you can play or not. When you're racing dirt, those elements are always in play. How much sun did it get? What's the wind like? What's the moisture in the ground? What's the ground moisture like? Even if the top is dry, what's going to come out after the sun goes down? You're always chasing the elements.
How many times is it frozen and thawed compared to how many times it's been raced on?
And also, I think people forget that say they love dirt racing. That's also what makes dirt racing so exciting. Is that it's constantly changing. And you have to be able to adapt and change throughout the night to still be successful.
I'm still one of those guys too, and I know I can catch static for this, but there's got to be a little bit of danger in racing. There really does. And like obviously we don't want to see anybody hurt. We don't want to go that route, but if there's not danger involved and there's not risk and there's not all of these storylines, like what is racing at this point? I mean, I know nobody wants to tear up equipment. It's expensive. I mean, the list goes on and on and on, but from a fan perspective and all that, like you got to have a little bit of risk.
Well, I made the statement on Saturday night, I think to both of you guys up there on top of the tower. I think that it gets tougher and tougher to hear a call like we're making this call for the safety of drivers, because I think we have become, I don't know if desensitized is the word for it, but we have seen since Dale Earnhardt died at Daytona, the amount of safety innovation in motorsports is the last 20 years has been probably more than the 100 years previous in safety innovation. It is, again, I know it's still dangerous. I know it can still be deadly. I'm not belittling that. But we have gotten so used to seeing drivers have horrific crashes, whether it's Indy, whether it's sprint cars, whether it's late models, that walk away.
Yeah, they climb out and wave to the fans.
I mean, go back to, what was it, Bronson that ran in the back of Davenport at Speed Weeks a couple years ago? Yeah. I mean, just didn't see him and smoked the back of.
Yeah.
That was a nasty wreck that several years ago would have ended up in injuries. They both got out. They were fine.
Yeah.
We get so used to that I think sometimes we struggle with that idea of in the driver's safety because we think that they're all superhuman. And again, just to say, really happy to hear Fast Eddie, broken thumb, concussion, definitely sore, beat up, but obviously I know we were all holding our breath on Saturday night, to make sure that he was okay. So really glad to hear that. And,
He also had a good post.
He had a very good post.
I didn't realize it when we were there Saturday night that his car was dedicated to Jackie Boggs. And,
I didn't either until I read that.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, I'm going to give him a shout out, how he encourages the fans to come up to him and he'll let the kids climb in the car. And I'll tell you, we spend a lot of time in the pits and you almost never see, go ahead and get in there. That's.
And I loved how in his post he broke it down. Like, don't get onto your kid when they touch stuff. Because I've been blessed because of some of the stuff we do in the media. A lot of drivers will let Alan come down and get in their car.
Yeah.
But I'm still the guy that's, hey, don't touch that. Don't touch that. And, to hear him, Fast Eddie say, hey, I reset the brake bias every time we go out. Like, let them play, let them touch stuff. They can't tear anything up in that race car.
But we say on here all the time, we got to find ways to bring the next generation into motorsports. Fast Eddie's doing it. He's letting the kids hands-on.
Hey, I want to say this too. Levi Perkins just posted this. I think this is a great point. I don't even know if we've actually brought this up on the show, but Jim Price was the HARF 2020 Promoter of the Year. And
yes, we have brought it up, but we need to reiterate that.
And, again, there's no promoter that everybody's going to like. I don't care. I mean, I love James Essex, but when Essex was promoting, there were guys that disagreed with decisions that Essex made. But I'm telling you, Jim does one hell of a job. And it's not, going back to what Ryan said, it's not due to lack of effort. He's
Yes.
going to put everything he can into that track to make it better.
I agree.
And again, I hate it because you and I both talked right at the beginning of the night. The track looked good. The track was fast. It was going to be an extremely exciting night of racing had it all played out.
Yeah.
But it was, to kind of go back to some of the positives of the night, car count was amazing.
Yes.
44 late models there,
25 modifieds, 19 pure stocks.
Yeah, just a huge field. And again, it was cool, and we talked. Obviously, that race, the Icebreaker, was going up against the Bristol Dirt Nationals. But with World of Outlaws being off, some of the mixture of guys who were at the Icebreaker we haven't seen before was the reason why I was excited.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think really Bristol didn't hurt our car count.
Well, some guys left Bristol and came to Brownstown.
Yeah, I mean, we talked, I know here at the shops, like, I don't know what this is going to be. Like, this might be bad. This might not be a good thing, but it was a pleasant surprise to walk in there. And what I liked about it is you got some of those World of Outlaw guys.
Yeah.
You had such a different group of drivers than that's typical of Brownstown.
I agree.
So that was a cool night to go in there and say, hey, Shane Clanton might win at Brownstown. Like, when do you ever go to Brownstown and Shane Clanton's in contention, or just the whole dynamic? So definitely something cool to see. I was glad that we had a good modified crowd. Pure stocks were healthy as normal. So it was definitely shaping up to be a good night.
And to talk about modified drivers. I grew up obviously a huge Tony Stewart fan, and back in the day the big thing was doing the double, running the 500, then going to the Coca-Cola 600, flying down, jumping in the car. How about Kyle Strickler leaves Brownstown after things are called to get down to Bristol to get in his modified to go out and win the modified feature down there. I mean, amazing. That ability to get down there and jump in a totally different race car, totally different track, setup, everything. Goes out and picks up the win again.
I just want his connection for a helicopter. That's what I want.
He always brings Tony up for the double there, but John Andretti was the first guy to do that.
John Andretti was the first guy, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Kurt Busch has done it.
Yeah.
Who else? Robbie Gordon. Yeah, Andretti, Robbie Gordon, Kurt Busch, and Tony. Is that the only four?
Yeah,
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, that was definitely cool to see, and kind of felt bad, obviously, for Ricky Thornton Jr. too, who was going to be in a pretty good seat there for Bristol, and that's just racing though. Like, and you're running for Lucas Points. I mean, that's just a commitment that.
I was shocked the point leader was not at Brownstown.
Yeah.
Overton, which I'm sure Huddy was happy about that.
He was smiling pretty big after Atomic when he went home with that orange spoiler.
Yeah.
And to touch on that, kudos to them. Obviously, again, the keyboard warriors out there that, Huddy was washed up last year and all the stuff you heard about him, and what Hudson was able to do when he went and got in, the professional concrete cutting ride and what he did with PCC last year at the end of the year. But then to go down with Double Down Motorsports and Roger Sellers and those guys down there and the work that they've put in, that's going to be a team that you will contend with on Lucas Oil all year long.
Every weekend, yeah.
They've got good chemistry, and I don't care what anybody says. You can have the fastest car, you can have the best driver, you can have all this, but you got to have the chemistry to put it all together. And I think that they've got a good vibe. I mean, that team, they're very well established on we're a team. Like it's not one person. It's not just it's a team effort, and I think they're going to have a big year. I really do.
The other one that I want to talk about down there again, Bristol Dirt Nationals. I have to say, and again, huge Kyle Larson fan. Love seeing what Kyle Larson did last year on in his hiatus away from NASCAR and getting on the dirt and just literally showing everybody how good he was. But for him to jump in down there at the Bristol Dirt Nationals, everybody knew he was going to be fast and he was strong. But for Superman to come around him and kind of just say, hey, there's some of us that still do this full time. I thought that was a pretty cool ending to that race.
I agree.
Because Davenport just kind of put him back in his place and said, you're good, man, but
And then
we can race too.
Ryan Blaney does the same thing to him on Sunday.
It's a bad weekend for Larson. If there's such a thing as a bad weekend, 2 seconds.
2
for
seconds,
Larson,
but I mean, both of them,
Yeah.
late in the race passes there to get him. So,
But I am excited, and I know there's mixed feelings about this going into this weekend, but I am extremely excited to see Cup cars on the dirt at Bristol. I'm not sitting here saying it's going to be a great race. The spectacle of it, that horsepower, those cars on dirt, and how drivers react to it and manipulate it, I think is going to be amazing. I know Ryan and I were talking last week, and how do they attack it? Are they going to try and stay down at the bottom? The guys that maybe haven't ran much dirt, who's going to be that first guy that kind of hangs it out up at the top to see what they can do? Like, where's that line going to be?
Larson's going to be the guy that he's used to going in there with all this grip, and he's going to haul that Cup car in there and be like, oh, shit, there's no traction. What do I do now?
Yeah.
And he's going to drift up to the wall. But I think those guys are going to be up on the wall, honestly, a lot more than you've seen in the late models.
but I'm amazed at all the Cup guys that now own dirt cars.
Right.
Like, it's cool to own a dirt car now. Where before that, that's the hillbillies. That's as far. Now all these guys are wanting to go out and buy dirt cars to go, modifieds and late models to go race them.
And I saw it. I didn't read the whole article, but Bloomquist and Davenport both talked about that, and gave kudos to all these NASCAR guys that are kind of coming back to their roots. And
Yeah.
And again, I know there's mixed feelings about NASCAR doing this and putting the Cup cars on dirt, but again, I said from the get-go, you can't talk out of both sides of your mouth. You can't be critical of NASCAR saying they don't want to connect with their roots, and then when they do something like this to try and pull that dirt crowd back in, hate on them for doing it as well. So
I agree.
I think it's a cool idea. Again, it may be a complete shit show on Sunday, but it's exciting to see them trying something.
I totally agree with you.
There's a big shift right now, I think, with NASCAR. That I know there's some stuff going on and behind the scenes, and they're really, I think, finally awakening to the fact that, like, hey, dirt has got something going on here, and we need to pay attention to it, because now used to the NASCAR car owners discourage people from going and racing on dirt and asphalt on local levels, and now all of a sudden it's almost encouraged. It's like, guys, go race. Like, we got to connect back with our fans. So there's a big push there, and I really hope, I was a big NASCAR fan back, throughout the 90s and all that, and I just, as of late, I don't even turn it on. I couldn't tell you where they're at, who's, like, I've got zero desire, but it's almost getting to the point where it's like, okay, like, I'm getting interested again.
But Dustin said this before, you got the guys say, support NASCAR, and now NASCAR's trying to get back to the roots, and then the same people saying support NASCAR are bashing the fact that they're trying to get back to the roots. Like you said, don't talk out both sides of your mouth.
Have it both ways.
Support them or don't.
And don't get me wrong, we can sit here and debate all day. Would I have rather seen the first time Cup cars were on dirt, maybe be at Eldora, at a true dirt track? We can debate that all the time. This opportunity was there. Again, kudos to NASCAR for making the attempt. And again, I go back to look at NASCAR's history the 20 years before that with very, very little change. They're probably the #1 professional sport to actually adapt and make changes to their rule book, their formatting. I mean, we've seen the chase for the Cup. We've seen the changes to the chase for the Cup. We've seen the segment racing. We have seen all of these changes, more road courses, rovals. I mean, NASCAR is trying to improve their product.
And let's look at the chase for the Cup. Michael McDowell is in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Could that have ever happened in the old point system? Probably not.
No, not a chance. But he's got a shot now.
Yes.
So
he's one of 16.
It is. It's again, it's easy to be critical of all these decisions, and similar to being a promoter for a day, until you're in there and trying to make all these moves, I don't think you can be critical. And again, right now, I would say just in the past 3 months, going back to what you said, with all these NASCAR guys getting involved in dirt, it's a huge success. I mean, from the dirt perspective, this is a huge win for us, because I don't care who you are, if, we've got to show up Brownstown Speedway and Chase Elliott shows up in a car, whoever, fans are coming out just to watch that. So it's bringing people back to the dirt tracks, people who are maybe just NASCAR fans, that we can build on.
Let's play devil's advocate here. NASCAR going to compete with Lucas Oil. and have a sanctioned series in the dirt.
I mean, there's always those possibilities,
Yeah.
especially with that kind of money.
And are they flirting with that?
Yeah, and I don't know. Like, I know that, from our media perspective, I know there's a lot of stuff going on in the media world behind the scenes right now, and it's kind of interesting to hear some of the things that, NASCAR's looking to get invested into. But that would be an interesting, interesting thing if they did come out one day and say, hey, NASCAR Dirt Late Model Series,
Yeah.
let's go.
I mean, you saw where NASCAR invested in ARCA. So they've invested in those lower tier series, kind of bringing up on the asphalt. Now the next step is for them to kind of control that feeder system coming in, and that was something really interesting when I got that opportunity last year with the Air Force to go up to the Harvest Grand Prix at the IndyCar and talking to Connor Daly and those guys and hearing, IndyCar has a very structured, the Mazda program, and you step up here and then you step up. A very structured kind of tier system of how you get to IndyCar. NASCAR, it's a lot more hit or miss. Mm-hmm. And the thing I like about NASCAR kind of looking into this is I think it can take out that aspect that we see in ARCA right now of you got to have money. You got to show up with the money or you can't do it. You can, don't get me wrong, there's still a lot of money in super late models. I'm not saying that whatsoever. But you can compete at a lower budget there than you can.
Anywhere else.
Chris Gambrell says NASCAR destroyed themselves with overexposure. I'm not exactly sure what Chris is saying there.
I think he's talking back in the 90s in the heyday when NASCAR was everywhere.
I think with, my personal opinion on NASCAR is they, I think they lost touch of their roots, basically, is the kind of the gist of it. And, I know that what causes that is they get all these corporate dollars coming in, and you've got to keep that corporate dollar happy. And you've got to play by, the political rules and this, that, and the other. But, the fans is what's really bringing the money. And you can have all these corporate sponsors, you can have all this, but if you don't have the fans, you don't have a product. And I think, if anything, I think they've finally kind of realized that, and they're going to get back to the roots as much as they can and keep those corporate guys happy and try to balance that line out and see what happens. I think
you saw a time that you've seen in other sports too. The NBA right after Jordan left the Bulls, and there was really no set of stars. You started to see Patrick Ewing retire and all these guys that had played against Jordan. Until you started to see LeBron come in and Kobe come to his forefront and kind of create that rivalry again. Back in the 80s, you saw Bird and Magic. Then you saw Jordan. Like, you kind of lose that. And you've got some years there that you got to build those storylines and those stars again.
Look at the NFL right now.
Again, yeah. You see the retirement of Peyton Manning and some of these
Eli,
guys.
Breeze.
You're hoping now that your Patrick Mahomes can continue doing what they're doing, and you build those things. And I think that's the whole thing with NASCAR. I think that NASCAR is the young guys that are in there right now are great storylines. And again, I know I'm a fan, I'm a homer, whatever you want to call me, but if you don't love the Chase Briscoe storyline of what he's doing, then you're just not a fan. Like the kid is as good as you can be. As a human being, great driver, worked his ass off to get there. He's the perfect storyline for somebody to follow. And I think you're going to see a lot more of those rivalries and names and people start stamping out.
No,
what are you grinning at?
Chris Gambrell just texted me and said I look enthused. I must have RBF. I don't know.
Yeah, Chris said, why go watch it when it's on TV 24/7? Too much of a good thing is a bad thing. And I can understand that, and I agree with that. I mean, it's the similar spot in other sports. I'm not a huge fan of the NFL Network because I don't want to watch NFL 24/7.
Yeah.
I don't buy into that. I need a break from it. So,
I think that all just goes back to, again, it's the corporate dollar, and and even us on on the small scale of what we're doing with Dirt 2 Media, like we want to stay in front of people's faces as much as we can, but we also got to respect the fact that people don't want to see what we're doing 24/7 too. So But we don't have corporate dollars behind us yet either, so that's,
Yet you said that.
yet. I hope. Maybe.
Well, and I got to say this. Rob Kent said Jordan was better than all of them. He said Jordan should race for Bubba, but I got insider knowledge that Jordan has been in talks with Rob Kent to actually put Rob in the car, because from what I understand, Rob's the greatest race car driver that no one knows about.
But everybody knows the legend.
Everybody knows the legend, just not in the race car. But speaking about dollars, let me at least throw out our sponsors that help us do this each week, and that's P3 Graphics and P3RacingShirts.com. I'm telling you, a lot of really good-looking cars at the track Saturday. P3 does a lot of those.
Great-looking cars.
If you are looking for wraps, go get them. And I got to shout out again, one of the best. I just saw he was watching, but Justin Bowling's car this year is just unreal. The detail that's in it. And, again, P3RacingShirts.com, no minimum quantity. Don't have to have all that upfront cost. Great option for T-shirts. Dirt to Media, again, right here, dirttomedia.tv. 70 live events on Dirt to Media this year. I don't know if I'm excited about that or want to cry, but no, it's really awesome. Everything from micro sprints to go-karts to late models to everything in between, to the real race cars this weekend, because the All-In 25 and No Way Out 40 will be live on Dirt to Media this weekend. Thirsty Goat Entertainment, Fresh Prints, Race Clean. Again, I know we were out at the track on Saturday night giving out a lot of samples. If we've thrown samples your way, let us know what you think about that. We've gotten pretty good reviews on everything. The new Fast Hands waterless hand cleaner is out, and getting great reviews back on it. So, OCC Seamless Gutters and Construction. Again, Jeremy Owens. You won't find a better guy. Does more top quality work than what Jeremy will do. Gilpin Electric and Generators. Again, give them a call if you need anything wired for your race trailer, your race shop, or at a full home generator. Kane's Tree Service. And Tommy Taylor, Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance. And again, I talk about Tommy all the time being our agent, but Tommy, thank you. Tommy came right out, got us hooked up with insuring the trailer, made sure we got things taken care of. And again, he's always on point, taking care of us both personally and on the business side as well. So can't say enough about Tommy Taylor, Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance.
I still got to fix my gutter, too. I keep forgetting about that. But
well, you need to call
OCC.
Jeremy Owens.
I got to call Jeremy Owens. So I got a lot of phone calls to make. Or else Tommy's going to cancel me. It's going to happen. So.
Just take a picture and Photoshop a new gutter in.
You could do that. You could do that. The trouble is, the next thing I know, he's standing in the backyard taking pictures of the house. Like, Tommy, don't do that. Like,
give me a heads up.
Give me a heads up so we can make some stuff happen.
Well, you got dogs and stuff.
You
don't want to
dogs,
show up.
yeah.
You got to give a warning. So looking ahead into this weekend, again, I've said this before. I contend that it's hard to find a better track opening 2 weekends than what Brownstown does with the Icebreaker, then followed by the All-In 25 and No Way Out 40. I know the weather is a little up in the air. Let me give you the latest weather report here. This is coming straight from the official Thirsty Goat Entertainment meteorologist. Possible storms Saturday night. Supposed to rain a lot in the morning and then break more on Thursday night. So that is from the official Nathan's First Alert weather forecast. So it looks like rain, but we're holding out hope. We're racing.
So that's the White Shoes weather update.
White Shoes weather. Yeah, it's the only way.
Yeah.
I've been really hooked up here lately with the BAM WX
oh, yeah, you got
guys.
an actual service.
Yeah,
I just talked to Nathan.
Yeah, I've got a service. We got Nathan. So I think a good average between the best, between both of them. I don't know. I'm still holding out hope that we're going to race Friday and Saturday, really. And I say that because we're not ready, from a broadcast perspective, merchandise perspective. We're behind.
I don't know what you're talking about. We're live right now in the trailer.
We're live, but we got some work to do. But no, I think that, I know there's some chance of rain Thursday and a couple storms and stuff coming through. But I'm holding out hope we're going to get this in this weekend. I really do. So.
And I know we've talked about this on the show before too, but I think Brownstown is an extremely underrated sprint car track. And I know that sprint car drivers are going to tell me I'm wrong because a lot of them don't like to drive it, but it produces some really, really exciting races.
I think that is the greatest love-hate relationship there is.
I agree.
You have some sprint car drivers that absolutely love it there.
Short, who knows the line with his eyes closed.
I think it's a product of
Kyle Cummins.
I made a post on Facebook today kind of saying Brownstown is not a sprint car track, but the thing is, it's really not.
It was built to be a late model
It's not
track.
a sprint car track, but it forces those guys to race their ass off and try to figure out how to be fast, and that's what makes it exciting. The track itself's probably not set up, but they'll go race on it.
And that's a good point. I shouldn't say underrated sprint car track. It's underrated for the shows that it puts on because it forces guys outside of the box and to do some different type of things. But
you'd think they would kind of like it because it doesn't have that big bad wall all the way around it that just tears stuff up. We travel a lot to a lot of race tracks, and almost all of them have a wall.
I just don't think they like the slick. I really don't. I think that, Brownstown, and I think this weekend, I know they put a lot of work in the track, but it's going to be cold.
Brownstown.
Yeah, it's going to be cold. It's still wet. There's going to be character to the track, and I think there's still going to be some holes. There's still going to be some dips. There's going to be hard slick. You're going to have all the elements.
As long as back as I can remember, it's been hard and slick.
You're going to have all the elements, and that's, in a sprint car, those guys can go out there and race around that stuff better than a late model or, a modified.
And they're constantly sanding the track anyway, so they are constantly just slicking it down.
It builds a cushion, but not a cushion like they're used to at tracks with the wall. Because so much of that stuff is chucked over the
when you get to the top of the track, it's done.
Yeah. So I do think that's part of it too. They don't build up that cushion that they can come off of, and but again, it's going to be for an exciting weekend. And if you don't have plans, understand when we talk about the weather, the major weather is tomorrow. Friday and Saturday look beautiful.
Yes.
If the track and pits are ready to go, it will be a beautiful weekend to be out at the racetrack. And again, I can't say enough about the whole situation on last Saturday. Things ran really well up until the issue with the surface, but great crowd, great car count. It was just a fun night to be back. I think we said at one point to feel normalcy again, a little bit. We kind of all felt that at the Jackson 100, but then after race season ended, I kind of felt like we fell back into true COVID quarantine.
Yeah.
So
it's been a long winter. It really has. And, I know we've had obviously a lot of things going on, but you're still that cooped up feeling. And it's just, it's nice today that, we've been outside all evening kind of working around in the trailer and doing this show. And it's really therapeutic, I think, to be outside. Like you guys rode in on your motorcycle. I mean, that's the stuff we got to get back to.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
And I believe before we went on air, you were saying you were looking to trade the motorcycle for a Jeep?
Negative. No.
Oh, I thought that's what I heard.
That's what I heard, too.
I said I rode the motorcycle in because I thought you guys drove your Jeep, so I was going to drive something with the same amount of storage.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's still a little bit too cool to get my Jeep out because it's a commitment to drive my Jeep over here. It's not really just to jump in and go.
It's about like riding a motorcycle. You got to watch the weather.
Yeah,
you have to.
It's
what kind of clothes you're going to pack just in case the weather changes.
It's a whole schedule to get it out.
Yeah, and I've not actually started mine all winter, so I don't even know if it'll start, to be honest. But
when Dustin sent me the text and said, "Hey, we're doing the show at the Fresh Print Shop," I thought, man, that's in town. It's this little.
Yeah, I saved you.
Yeah,
a heck of a trip.
About 40 minutes. So that's. Yeah.
So let's talk this weekend, and I know that still a lot up in the air on who all is going to be there, but I mean, can you pick anyone else going into this weekend outside of Kyle Cummins?
I think it's unique because we really don't know. Obviously Kyle's going to be fast, but we don't know what else everybody's got right now. I mean, if the guys wasn't in Florida racing, we don't know what they got. They could come out of the box hot.
I'm going to lean to one of the nicest guys that drives a sprint car, man. That's Sunshine.
Yeah, I've not got confirmation yet from him.
But he usually is there.
He's normally there.
Yes.
I know he's doing a lot of wing racing this year, so I don't know what his schedule is going to look like. I know I've talked to Robert Ballou. Kyle was coming. Who else we got? Brandon Maddox.
He's a good one.
Yeah, Brandon. He was over at practice at Brownstown too.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Darland ever get back with you?
Darland didn't have a ride as of, he said he was still waiting on a ride situation. AJ Hopkins will be there in the Burton ride. He was a front runner last year in 2019 before doing the backflip, the famous backflip.
That was the greatest thing I've ever announced.
Yeah. So I think he'll be
freaking you.
No, that's the wrong
that
thing.
was a different one. Yeah. But no, there's going to be, it's been up in the air with some guys not being ready and trying to figure out what their schedules are. But I think we're going to have a solid field.
The backflip was when I channeled Harry Carey there and did the holy cow. Did you guys just see that?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and if you guys haven't seen the backflip, it's scheduled to post up sometime in the morning with Dirt 2 Media, so there'll be a highlight of that. It was in the highlight clip today, but a lot of people probably didn't watch it, so it'll be cut down, and you guys can check that out tomorrow if you hadn't seen that. That was
the most amazing
crazy.
thing I've ever seen.
It was insane, really, to see how that all shook out. So, but that's the thing. I've not been to a No Way Out 40 yet at Brownstown that's not had some sort of excitement.
Yeah.
It's not always been the race of the year, but there's always something. So.
Yep.
Tyler Collins asked about Joss Moffat, and no, Joss is planning to open up at Lawrenceburg Speedway, so he won't be there this weekend. But
I talked to Nick Bilby as well. He said he was preparing for Lawrenceburg too. He was always a good one. There's going to be some interesting news. I hope he doesn't watch this to get mad at me, but Dakota Jackson's got some pretty cool news coming up that's been I assume top secret. I don't know. I'm not going to put it out here on air, but I spoke with him, and he said he would not be there, that he was working on some other plans. So kind of keep an eye on Dakota and what he's got coming. So I think it's going to be a really cool storyline.
Look at that. Dangling the teaser.
Yeah. Throwing that out there.
I have to stay on board for that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, what else we got looking forward to here? Obviously, we got this weekend, big weekend with All In 25, No Way Out 40. Again, full coverage. If you can't make it to the track, live on dirttomedia.tv. But then looking ahead to the opening, points week.
Yep.
Jumping out there. And I do want to throw this out there. It's pretty cool. I want to give a huge shout out to JP Hyden with Royal Purple Oil. And
yeah,
JP's been a huge supporter of ours and just a great friend. And Ryan and I have had the opportunity to kind of work some deals with him. And we're going to have some kind of cool stuff for the Indiana Late Models this year. Going to have a quick time award with Royal Purple. It's going to get them some product in their hands. So, again, thank you to JP for that. That's awesome. Fresh Prince is also going to do some fast time Royal Purple plaques. So they will, whoever's fast time each week that the ILMS is running will receive a plaque and some product back from Royal Purple. And again, I think the exciting thing is here's another company that wants to invest back in local dirt racing.
Yes.
And people that maybe don't know JP, go back and listen to the interview we had with JP. It was a great one. The dude loves dirt racing. Started out his career at USAC and then left USAC and ended up at Royal Purple at Calumet Products. And just a great guy and really wants to be involved. And I'm going to throw a teaser out there too, but watch Steve Peden's Facebook this Friday. Going to be a big reveal of his new scheme for his car. But he'll be Facebook Live. So whether you're at the track or not, pay attention to Peden's Facebook. And I'm actually going to be positive about it, but so I'm not going to hate on Peden today. So I better get a text about 9:43 tomorrow, Steve, saying how much you appreciate me being nice. But I've seen the car, and it is sharp, sharp, sharp. So watch for that. It's going to be really cool to see him unveil the car on Friday night.
Yeah, a lot of cool stuff coming this year. It's going to be a different year, I think, for us, and we've not really done an official announcement or anything. But all of Brownstown shows will be live this year with us on Dirt 2 Media, awesome. Excluding obviously the Lucas shows, and Flo's got a couple shows there that that they'll have on their platform. But just to bring the local racing, and we're going to really dig deep into the storylines of what's going on each week and follow the points. And I'm just
pre-race show.
Yes, pre-race shows. We're
Very cool.
Yeah, we're throwing the kitchen sink at it this year, and I'm just excited to be home and be able to do this stuff, and really dedicate Dirt 2 Media to local racing like it was designed to be. So.
One of my first interviews I had planned for kind of the behind the scenes is I'm planning on interviewing the Uke Tires to see what they have against Peden and Burton.
They left Burton alone Saturday.
So planning a very in-depth, kind of like a Dateline or a 60-minute sit-down interview there with the Uke Tires just to figure out what their issue is.
It's always the ones in 1 and 2.
I know. I'm gonna go right down there and I'm gonna ask the tough questions, Matt. I'm not going to let them just skate on an answer.
You're the guy to do that.
We're going to figure out why they have such hatred towards Peden and Burton. So that'll be my first interview with the Uke Tire.
Sounds good.
What else, guys?
Yeah, I don't know. We're just, like I said, we're in our new home. Definitely thank Scott Trailer and the Racing Boys crew for... they got a new production trailer built, and we got the opportunity through working with them a little bit, and definitely excited about this thing. Can't wait to unveil it at its full capacity. I don't know if it's you guys see it this weekend. It's not going to be at its full capacity, but we're going to have this thing loaded with merch and the broadcast. And you'll be able to walk past and really see behind the scenes of how we broadcast races, and there'll be a monitor on the other side of the trailer that you can actually stand out and watch the races. Cool. And
so if you're out there at Six Scoops getting ice cream or headed to the bathroom,
bring us ice cream.
You can stop by and watch the broadcast there and still catch some things there. But
just really trying to make a good end user.
So I could stand there and announce.
You could.
Yeah, you could.
Yeah.
You could.
But before you go on, because we're going to get in trouble for this if you don't, you thank Scott, you thank the whole Racing Boys team. We have to thank Heather Stassa, who
felt terrible for her. Like she had to make the delivery on this trailer. I forget, it was on a Wednesday night, whenever it was, and she's obviously Racing Boys is in Kansas City. And, I mean, that's probably a 9-hour drive from here. And, she hooked up to it, and she got about somewhere in west of Terre Haute, and there was a 6 semi pileup on the interstate. And she sat on the interstate for 6 hours, I guess, and had to sleep in the truck.
The state cops woke her up at 4:30 in the morning to tell them they were redirecting traffic.
Yeah, so she ended up getting over here at 8 or 9 in the morning the next day, and then had to drive back. And it's definitely
Did you guys buy her breakfast?
No, nobody was around. We were all working. So I actually left work on my lunch and got met her to get the check and the title work all figured out, and I went back to work and she got back on the road. And that's the cool thing about racing though is it's just crazy. Most people wouldn't understand jumping on the interstate with a trailer, getting stuck in traffic, but that's just what we do, and that's what this game's all about, and that stuff's going to happen.
And behind the scenes, I tease Heather a lot, but she's our go-to, and she's always there to help, and just was a huge part of helping us get this trailer and then get it out to us, and everything she does behind the scenes. And happy for her, happy to see what she's doing with Racing Boys, and excited to see everything they're doing this year as well.
They've got a big year. They partnered up with Flo on the ASCS National Tour this year. They've got a lot of regional actions. So if you guys want to see some good sprint car racing in the Midwest, like Missouri, Kansas area, I think this weekend they're down in Texas again. So we're going to kind of work together on some stuff. I know we had the No Way Out commercial playing in their broadcast last week, and we're going to kind of help them out with some commercial stuff. So it's just cool to bring the community all together. And there's a lot of racing out there that I wasn't even aware of. And if you just look at all these different media outlets and what they're covering, I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff out there.
All right, last thing. I'm going to stir it here just for a second. I'm going to get my spoon out and stir. But speaking of Racing Boys and their coverage, Sammy Swindell. Have you seen Sammy from this weekend? Okay, well.
I haven't.
Sammy got into another sprint car. They flipped. There was some heated words of exchange. I guess that's how you would put it. Heated words of exchange.
I guess that's what you call it. I don't know.
Sammy is upset because he's been doing this for 50 years, and these damn kids, can't figure out how to drive. I've watched the video several times, and we may have some other listeners who will disagree with me. The kid he hits, to me, is holding his line. I mean, he's not all over the track. He's holding his line. Now, you can argue he's middle of the track. Maybe he could have been up a little higher, but he's holding his line. And Sammy barrels down in there, and to me, it looks like Sammy misjudged the slide and gets into the kid and wrecks everything. The funny part to me, where I'm going to stir the pot here, is Sammy was big and bad and tough until they kind of got things separated, and then he walks away from the interview, realizes that kid and his whole crew's waiting for him, and he comes back to the interview to say they're all over there waiting for me.
Yeah, Sammy's going to be Sammy. That's
if you don't run your mouth, man, you got to take the ass whooping that goes with it, right?
But there was a time he would have. We got to remember Sammy is, has an elder statesman of sprint car racing now. So
Sammy's going to Sammy. But the funniest thing about that is Justin Zimmerman, the kid. He's not a kid. This is the funny part that he got into it with. He just posted T-shirts for sale today. And it said, because in Sammy's interview, it said, you guys got some kid with a pit pass out here racing. So Justin Zimmerman's got a shirt that says, just a kid with a pit pass.
Oh,
so,
that's beautiful.
Yeah, so definitely it's cool.
So
to see
Justin has been taking notes from Tyler Erb on merchandise.
Yeah, absolutely.
Any truck stop, any track.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, that's racing. That stuff's going to happen. Yeah. We can say it's Sammy's fault. You can say it's this guy's fault. But the thing is, it's how these guys capitalize on it.
But you have 10 guys, 5 guys are going to say it's one way, and the other 5 is going to be,
that stuff's going to happen. And honestly, that's what fuels us to keep. I don't care if you like, Bobby Pierce or Tyler Erb at all, but you followed that storyline, and you were interested in that storyline. And, that's what it's all about.
I like them both, but I like them both mad at each other even more.
Yeah,
I do too. They do too because they're both selling T-shirts.
Yeah.
That's.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, anything else before we jump off and finish packing up to get ready for the All-In 25 No Way Out 40?
Yeah. I appreciate all you guys, the support through the winter. And, I hope that we can really execute on what our plans are for this year as far as coverage goes, because we've got a lot of big plans. Definitely excited for what we got coming, and hope you guys enjoy it. If you guys got suggestions, stuff you want to see, don't want to see, we might listen, we might not, I don't know. But head over to dirt2media.tv, jump on our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and let us, we'll keep covering racing as long as we can.
All right. Well, everybody, again, get out to the track this weekend. It's going to be beautiful. Hopefully the storms stay away. And let's get out to the track this weekend, support the track again. Can't say enough about what Jim has done even since Saturday to work the track over. If you saw the pictures that he posted and the amount of time and effort they put into it, it's going to be the absolute best surface he can possibly prepare. There's still going to be factors. There's still unknowns because it's weather, it's dirt, it's Indiana in March. But it won't be from lack of effort.
I agree.
Yep. All right, everybody. We'll be back in 2 weeks, so make sure you join us again. But, again, thank you, and it's nice to be back here and home.
Absolutely.